can't believe I have to do this, but I'm seeing it more and more, especially after doing the best way to get the corrupted holokeys. Nearly just called them holokeys. They are actually called corrupted holokeys. People keep saying, didn't even know there was some, so we'll quickly kind of do this, because if you just go to the codex and search Tenet, you will see there is 8 Tenet weapons that the sisters have, and there are 4 that, well, they are melee weapons, and we'll get to them in a second. It's the melee ones people don't tend to know that they exist, which is weird because they were the first ones they actually showed off. Well, them and the envoy. You'll also see I'm nowhere near finished with, well, I've done half of them. Exactly half of them. I've maxed out 6 because all of these are 5 format based weapons, even the melee weapons. But to get a hold of the 4 primaries, that is the Tenet Tetra, the Tenet Flux Rifle, the Tenet, you know what, I'm regretting this already, 1 second. The Tenet Tetra, which I do love this thing. I like the effects of these things as well. The Tenet Flux Rifle that solved pretty much all the major issues with, well, the Flux Rifle that is basically range. The Tenet Arca Plasma that at first was one of my favourite ones, but I have 3 converted sisters with this thing, so I am actually sick of it. Plus, unless you're going against the Corpus, isn't exactly the best of weapons anyway, but it is still a huge improvement over the normal Arca Plasma. And the Tenet Envoy. This thing, it is basically the Ogress on steroids. It is a rocket launcher that, well, if you aim down scope, has a laser that comes out the end that you have tracking missiles. There's the laser coming out of it for some reason, pointing straight backwards, but the rockets will go wherever the laser's gone. So you fire it, and it will follow the laser until it reaches its destination. Actually love this thing, and it seems to have a ton of damage to it. Then there is 4 secondaries, which, to be fair, I should probably have done this to make it a little bit clearer. 4 primaries, 4 secondaries, with probably, sadly, the Tenet Cyclone being, it's good because it's a battery operated one, there's no ammo needed for it, but when it runs out of ammo, you kinda can't shoot anymore. There is the Tenet Detron that, just like the Kuva Heck, it has an alternate fire mode that basically burst fires every single round out of the end of it. It is an upgraded Detron, but it's now gone. And there it is again. The Spyrex, that was actually my first Tenet secondary and my first Tenet weapon that, well, cannot fault this one at all. Headshot, speed up reloads, and seems to have a nice amount of damage to it without having too much. And what is probably the best of them so far, the Tenet Diplos. Yeah, I probably pronounced that one completely wrong, but hey, these things, well, you aim down scope at an enemy and it kind of locks onto the enemy and it shoots little, I'm just going to call them projectiles. Everybody keeps telling me it shoots rockets, but when you aim down scope, it automatically locks onto enemies, and then when you fire, it shoots the projectiles to the enemies. This is also a major problem for people who only fire down scope, because you have to open fire, then aim. And you probably guessed it at this point, 4 melee weapons. There is the Tenet Livia, the Tenet... Yeah, let's actually just go to where these are, considering this has been the biggest problem that I've seen so far. People don't tend to know. A lot of people do know. Videos like this are for the few people who don't. So all the comments that, well, I knew they were there, yes, large chunks of people do know they're there. These are the ones that they showed first and showed in dev streams, but there was enough people commenting saying that they didn't even know there was melee Tenet weapons. That is the reason that this video exists. So let's just go to where you get these from, because unlike all of the other Tenet weapons, the primaries and the secondaries that you get from vanquishing a sister that will then drop the weapon, these you have to get a different way. Head to absolutely any relay apart from Maru's Bazaar, because, well, that doesn't have the syndicates in it. Run all the way in, and in the map in the top left you can see an upside down triangle. You're basically heading there because it's Ergo Glass that sells these in here. Or you can literally go to this terminal in your landing craft and go to parent sequence, and this should work for any of them because you can see Orbiters is there, and I am not that fond of... I'm not liked by the Orbiters. And just visit this, do you want to enter a relay, and it should take you straight to Ergo Glass, which we will kind of leave this to see if it actually takes you straight there instead of editing or anything else, and it places you right in front of Ergo Glass. That's probably the quickest and easiest way, and this is where people are getting, I don't want to say confused, but it's amazing how many people I'm still being asked where you get these things from. Ergo Glass sells them, and this is how you get the melee weapons. The Tenet Grigori, the Tenet Livia, the Tenet Exec, and the Tenet Agendus. That is basically the hammer and shield, the new scythe type based weapon, the two-handed Nakana, and the two-handed long... well, it's not two-handed, it's just the long sword, the heavy sword, whatever you want to call this thing. They do come with bonuses, but the bonus is automatically added to the specs that you can see here, because if we go to this, you will notice it has radiation on it. That's because it's adding the 53% heat to the electrical that this thing has as its base damage. It's automatically mixing the bonuses. And yes, just like every other Tenet-based weapon, the bonus can go up to 60% and it starts at 25. So that's got a pretty decent magnetic to it, but 53% heat, there's a reason that this says purchased at the bottom, because, well, I needed one of those anyway, because, well, I still don't have all of these because I'm waiting for good rolls, and you can only level one melee at a time anyway. I do believe that's the last one I need, but to get these you do need holokeys that drop from Railjack Voidstorm missions. You have a 37.5% chance of getting them, with Earth, Venus, Saturn and Neptune dropping 2, 3, 4. You basically want to aim towards Pluto. Oh, not what I want to do. Or the Veil. And I've covered farming these extermination missions on Pluto. Probably the best ways to get them, though skirmishes can be just as quick in the Veil. But there was literally just enough people that were turning around and saying, well, where do we get the Tenet melee weapons from? I've converted this many sisters and I haven't seen one of them, and I know there's 4 of them. How do you get them? So I thought I would quickly do this just to kind of say, well, you need to come see Ergo Glass, because Ergo Glass sells them and you need holokeys to buy them. They don't drop from the sisters, basically. It is weird for them to do it this way, I completely agree with everybody, and I'm waiting for them to do something similar right in here. Because strangely enough, if you come in here and if you were to go all the way back and speak to... wait. That person... these are Grenier. Steel Meridian or Grenier. You could speak to this person if you want to turn in the insignias, and, well, yeah, you could have Kuva-based weapons, because the Kuva is based around the Grenier, in here. But there is no such thing, so I think we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.